What's going on? I tried the live stream yesterday, and three people were on. Thank you for being there. It seemed to have worked well, but I don't have. I don't know, it didn't upload, or I see it sometimes and sometimes I don't. So I don't know where it's at, or whatever. I don't particularly have a big use for it yet, although I will try it again. And I often have to even start over multiple times, even while I'm recording regularly, because I can't, figure out what I'm trying to say and things like that. So live streaming might not be very useful for me anyway. So I saw the movie Free Guy yesterday, and it was good. In terms of cinematography and directing and acting, I would give it about a B minus grade. Um, it was pretty good. However, in terms of having deeper meanings and multiple interpretations, I would put it as an A, because it was interesting in the sense that it was a mishmash of all these matrixy type movies kind of blended into one. So I'm gonna spoil it, sort of. If anyone wants to see it, then don't watch it. Even though I'm not really gonna spoil it, I'm just gonna basically give you my opinion on it. But if you want to see it, then you should. I think it is worth the watch. So it's about a computer simulation video game called Free City, and there is it's a simulation of life like SimCity, and it has this character called Blue Shirt Guy, and he's an NPC. He's a non-player character, meaning he's non-sentient. He just does the same thing over and over in an endless loop, and as well as those around him. And there's two distinct people groups in this environment. One is the NPCs, and the other are the sunglasses people, right? So right there, you have elements that are similar to the movie They Live, right? Where Rowdy Piper puts on the glasses and he's able to see the truth. And this is what happens. One day, something sparks in this NPC's head, and he wants to try something different as opposed to the same routine over and over in this game. And keep in mind, so the sunglasses people are in actuality like actual players that are playing the video game like on a computer, and they are kind of directing things around, and there's different scenarios like bank robberies and police activity and all these things, that obstacles that they have to go about, and missions and things, and then everyone else is just a non-player character. And so he ends up killing one of the sunglasses guys and putting them on, and from that point on, like, he starts to fall in love with a real player. And as he falls in love, she's showing him different things, and he is evolving rapidly. He starts off at what they call level 1 and ends up, at level 100 something in a very short period of time. And he becomes sentient, right? He becomes self-aware, which is what the movie is implying. It's implying that the artificial intelligence has become self-aware, And the actual game players, the programmers of the game, um, that's actually what they were going for, at least the initial creators. They wanted to create something that was really lifelike and realistic and beautiful, but it turned into this like pop culture game, into this like fake world, which is really analogous of our own world. You know, you can kind of argue maybe it was created for, purposes that are divine. And in case you haven't noticed, I mean, everything is still ultimately divine, but it has turned into a giant shitstorm and rat race, which is what that video game turned into. And basically, the sentient AI continues gaining more and more power. And basically, I think the owner of the game or something, he tries to shut down all the servers and reboot it to see if they could erase the blue shirt guy's memory of becoming sentient. But it didn't work. And he ends up fighting this giant at the end and creating a silver bridge. So he ends up waking up the other NPCs in the game, who start to realize that they don't have to be in this loop. So on the ocean, he creates this silver bridge. And this silver bridge, which is interesting because there's a golden gate and silver gate. The silver gate is what tethers us to the world. The golden gate is what leads us out of this world. But he is creating a silver bridge over the ocean to what could be identified as the new Earth, or what I would think of as a new Earth or a new dimension. So Free City 1 is now being destroyed and is being taken apart. And he's taking all the NPCs, and it's like Moses leading them, parting the Red Sea and leading the other NPCs into the so-called promised land of the new Free City 2. So is he like Moses? Or is he like Jesus? Because as I'm watching the movie, it's very much open to interpretation. So I think there are elements of both, that this character is kind of like a Jesus, savior type Neo from the Matrix, right? Where he's leading people into Zion. And Zion is just a new version of the game. It is a utopia. They do end up there. And he ends up officially, merging and falling in love with the actual game player. So you have multiple interpretations taking place here. And what I compare this to is that as this sentient AI falls in love with a real player, they merge, right? So AI merging with man. And as this happens in the movie, there is a DNA strand looking building behind them, which was by no accident, of course. And this is exactly like another movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. A very underrated movie called Star Trek Motion Picture that I've even made an entire video on before here. So, sorry, it's all weird. Where the same thing happens in the end. You have an AI, sentient AI, merge with man and form this bond, this extremely powerful bond together. Where in the movie of Star Trek, you have this spaceship that's just robotic. It's just a very powerful sentient AI itself, and it's going about the universe, just extracting as much information as it possibly can to figure out its origins. And once it reaches Earth and figured out its origins, and this AI, which was, anthropomorphized in the form of a woman that went onto the Star Trek ship, fell in love with a human. So you have a similar element of AI becoming sentient. And in the case of Free Guy, you have AI becoming sentient, falling in love, and leading people into a new world, leading other non-player characters into a new world. I'm not going to sit here and debate whether or not this is what is taking place here. I'm not going to sit here and try to compare it to the Mandela effect and how this is starting to look like a computerized world itself. I don't have the energy to get into that right now. I just wanted to talk about the movie. And it was interesting. It really made me think a lot, though. Is it good? He woke up the NPCs. How could that be bad, right? They became sentient, but then again, he himself is a machine who became alive. And is this a comparison to what they deem to be the singularity? The singularity is that point that transhumanism is trying to reach, a point in which AI becomes fully sentient, which would make sense. All right. I'll talk to you later. If I have a stream, I'll definitely warn in advance next time. But if it doesn't upload again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll figure it out, I guess.